Hello everyone, and welcome to the Suzanne and Sarah YouTube channel. I'm Suzanne.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we are going to talk to you about Crater Lake National Park, which is just a hop, skip, and away from Bend, Oregon. And so it's a great day trip to make from here. Hello everyone, welcome to the Suzanne and Sarah YouTube channel. I'm Suzanne Moore.
And I'm Sarah Willis. We are Central Oregon's investment and real estate experts.
So as I said, I'm Suzanne Moore. I'm a realtor here in beautiful sunny Bend, Oregon with Realty One Group Discovery and the founder of the Central Oregon Investor Network, which brings together investors not only from Central Oregon, but from all over the country to share resources, learn from one another, and create more freedom in our lives through passive income from real estate investments.
And I'm Sarah Willis. Suzanne Moore and I are a team here at Realty One Group Discovery, and we make these videos every week for you guys to watch. And we make these videos on investor topics and Bend lifestyle topics. And this week we are exploring Crater Lake National Park, which is only a 2-hour drive away, and we hope you enjoy it. There is a QR code here up on the screen. This is the best way to stay in touch with us. Please screenshot or hold your phone up right now. If you are home shopping in the Bend area, this is something that you will not want to miss, and you will want to be on this email list. Also, before this video is over, please like and subscribe. As we said, Bend is located smack dab in the middle of the state. So this makes it a really great location to do day trips all around. And if you are looking for one and you're here for a couple days, this is one you do not want to miss. So whether it's just for the day or you decide to spend a couple nights, Crater Lake is one place you must visit. So all of the beauty of the natural wonders that Oregon has to offer, Crater Lake is arguably one of the most surprisingly and stunning representations of that natural wonder. There's very little development in this area, and Crater Lake really does just represent a snapshot in time where you just get to see all of this geological history, and really it can only be appreciated up close and personal. And one thing I will say, once you have the opportunity to go check this place out, it really just sort of changes the way you observe the rest of your environment around you at all times, especially here in Central Oregon, which is sort of an outflow of what happened at Crater Lake. So let's learn together.
Are you ready for a history lesson on Crater Lake? Well, we are going to tell you how it formed, and it was a long time ago, 7,700 years ago to be precise. And that's when Native Americans inhabited the area and the great Mount Mazama erupted. So that was the name of the mountain that is now Crater Lake. And the eruption was so intense that the mountain collapsed in on itself, leaving the huge caldera that we know today as Crater Lake. So the caldera actually measures 4,000 feet deep, and it is one of the deepest lakes in the entire country.
Okay, so if you know anything about Crater Lake, one thing you probably know is it's water. Okay, so it's probably the most memorable part about the lake itself, and it's without a doubt the most sapphire blue water that you probably will ever see anywhere, maybe besides the Caribbean, I guess. So really, after the eruption, over time, what happened was the caldera filled with rain and snowmelt, and there's little or no inflow at all from streams or rivers. So that makes it so it's a really clear lake, so there's not sediment flowing into it. And this isolation from external water sources is what gives it the appearance of the vibrant blue color, in addition to how deep it is. So people question, like, why is this lake so blue? Is it fake? No, it's really the fact it comes down to its clarity and the purity and the depth. So
just like diamonds.
Yeah, there you go. And really also it comes down to the fact that there's protections around the lake. They don't let people swim in it, they don't let you put your pets in there. They don't let you do things like water sports in this lake. So this is all in part what helps it keep it so pristine.
So located within the lake, the most iconic part of the lake is Wizard Island, and it's that tiny little island that looks like the top of what used to be Mount Mazama, but it's actually not. The island itself is actually a cinder cone, which is an accumulation of volcanic debris, so volcanic ash, cinders, and other pyroclastic material that formed as a part of the eruption. So it's not the tip of the mountain, but it seems like it should be.
Now that you know some things about Crater Lake, you might be asking yourself, how do I get there? Well, we're here to tell you. It's a national park, which is pretty cool, a lot different than all the state parks that you see here in Oregon. And it is open year round. However, keep in mind, it does snow an average of 41 feet annually in the area. So really the most popular time to visit there is in the summer. And you're going to want to plan your trip accordingly, of course. When it is open in the summer, this is when all the other facilities are open, like the couple restaurants that are there, the lodge, the campgrounds, things like that, when all the main facilities are open. And no matter what time of year, it's going to cost you to actually get into that park from whatever direction you come in. You can come in from north, southeast, or west, depending on what part of the state you're coming from. But in our case, it'll be coming in from the north if you're traveling from Central Oregon. And it's going to cost you $20 to $30 per vehicle to get in. But the positive thing is that entry pass is good for a whole 7 days. So depending on whether you're just going for the day, coming back and forth, staying inside the park, staying outside the park, you have that leeway to get in and out with that pass.
Now let's talk about where to stay in Crater Lake. And you have a variety of options. So there's a campground, there are cabins, and there's the historic Crater Lake Lodge. All of these are open seasonally, typically mid-May through October, but it really does depend on that snow level. And they vary in nightly cost, of course. Camping will be cheaper, staying in the lodge or cabins a little bit more expensive. There's some other places to stay outside the park. So there's some small towns that are a 20 to 30-minute drive. And Crater Lake is definitely doable in one day from Central Oregon. It's a couple-hour drive. But if you want to stay at the park, any of these accommodations would give you more time to enjoy the park and do a bunch of hikes. You can take the trolley ride, which is another great way to learn about the history and the mystery of Crater Lake.
So when you come in for that day trip or that multi-day trip, you might be asking yourself, what should I do? This is unlike most parks where there's actually somewhat limited things to do here. The main attractions really have to do with just all the viewpoints and vantage points around the crater's rim. So sightseeing is a big part of this, but lots of hiking trails. I mean, there are endless hiking trails around this place. Biking, you can bike around most of the rim right now. When we're doing this recording, there's a large section of the road that is closed. That will be closed for a couple of years, but
and it's hilly. I'm here to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I've done the Crater Lake Century multiple times, and you think when you get to the top of the crater, it's just going to be flat. It's not. You keep climbing and descending. It's really fun. It's a great workout.
Yeah, that crater rim trail is no joke, that's for sure. So as we said, it does have a road that circumnavigates the rim, and there are numerous overlooks and panoramic views for just photo opportunities and just really taking in the views. But if you do choose to come in the winter, people come here for things like snowshoeing and skiing and snowmobiling are all options for the wintertime. Well, when you're there in the summer and all the accommodations are open, there are two things that are run by the park that I highly recommend doing based on your speed. There, as Suzanne already mentioned, there's a trolley that talks to you about the history and the mystery of the lake and the crater itself. And there's also a boat tour, but let me tell you, there's the thing about the boat tour. You have to walk down a very, very, very steep trail in order to get to the one access point to the lake, and hike back up that thing as well. And it's about a mile-long hike each direction. So depending on your body, your ability, the boat tour is totally worth it if you think you can do that. Otherwise, the trolley tour is another great option as well. So just keep that in mind. You got to have some physical ability to get down to that boat.
And you cannot swim. You're not getting into the lake. It's just another way to see the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason people go to Crater Lake is to see wildlife and to understand a little bit more about Central Oregon ecology. So the ecosystem in Crater Lake is as unique as its formation. And because it's so isolated and it has such extreme conditions with tons of snow and warm summer sunshine, the plant and animal life here is really well adapted. So some of the unique species that you might see are the Mazama newt, which is found nowhere else on Earth, and the elusive black bear. So there are bears in Crater Lake National Park. A lot of bird watchers come to Crater Lake to see peregrine falcons and bald eagles. And then there is one super cool opportunity to not get in the water, but you can fish at Crater Lake, and you can fish for the kokanee salmon and rainbow trout with no license and no limit. The National Park Service would like to have those fish removed from the lake, and so you benefit by getting free fish without a license, and you can take as much as you want because they're really trying to preserve the lake, and there's evidence that there were never native fish in the lake. The fish were stocked there many decades ago, and they're trying to restore the lake to its more pristine conditions. So if you plan to live, no. If you plan to fish there, there's some specific regulations that you'll need to read up on, one of which is that there is no organic bait allowed. You can only use artificial lures, and the only access is via that steep trail that Sarah talked about to get down to the boat. So that is something to take into consideration. You gotta hike to get your fish.
As we mentioned, one of the reasons why this lake is so pristine is because all of the preservation efforts that have gone into keeping this lake the way it is, because it's really just, it's a snapshot of time. It really is a historic monument, kind of no matter which way you slice it. So that is the reason behind actually getting in the water. There was an event actually recently where there were wildfires around the lake, and there was a helicopter that came in and dipped and took water from it, and it actually caused a big to-do. That was not supposed to happen. So it also serves as a valuable site for scientific research. There's ongoing projects there that are just researching, understanding how volcanic processes happen more, and really the resilience that happens for flora and fauna in extreme environments.
Wrapping it up today, just want to give you some final thoughts on your potential visit to Crater Lake. It really is a testament to the power of nature and the enduring beauty that it creates. So the water is vibrant, it's crystal clear and blue, and it's super unique. There's tons of history, there's the plant and animal life, and it's a great day trip from Central Oregon, or an overnight trip if you want to get out and hike and do some of those adventures we talked about. It's totally worth it for any length of trip, and it really appeals to people of all ages and abilities. So we hope you enjoyed today's video on Crater Lake.
Once again, I'm Sarah Willis.
And I'm Suzanne Moore.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe, and contact us with our contact information here on the screen and using that QR code. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.